Hello, I'm Steve. A little about myself. I'm a retired law enforcement officer with 20 years of service. I began my career in the jail, worked the road, and became an investigator. During my career, my training consisted of everything from SWAT to becoming a state certified crime scene technician. I've investigated crimes from thefts to homicides. After retiring and becoming aware of true crime and web sleuths, I started my channel for web sleuths to better understand the perspectives of law enforcement. Not only do we cover true crime, I go out into the field and assist families who have lost loved ones to homicide and their cases are considered cold. Join me as we look and bring attention to these critical cases.
There you go.
Oh, hello. Just having a little issue there to get
Had a
started.
glitch.
We had a glitch, but appreciate everyone coming tonight. This is your first time here. We want to welcome you. While you're in chat, respect families, mods, and each other. And we're going to be talking about a day in court with Richard Allen and about a lot of things going on. And it's quite interesting, his demeanor and his appearance. So we're going to discuss that quite a bit. But with that being said, I guess we can get started. All right. All right. Go ahead and pull Tom's up first, if you would. He's up at the top.
Oh, okay. Hold on. And blue light.
Hey, Tom. I'm glad to see you. Hadn't seen you in a while. Hope everything's going well. First question out of the gate, and this is one of the most important, and we're going to be discussing it a little bit more in depth. But absolutely, it is something that he has backed his defense team into a corner if this is true. And of course, there's going to be a wild and a lot of speculations, regardless of what type of confessions he's made, jailhouse talk. And there will be a lot of jailhouse rats scurrying, trying to get in on this. And so it will be something that the prosecution will make a lot of hay with, and the defense will be up against a wall. But good to hear from you. Appreciate your support, and thank you. All right. So now let's get into the slideshow. If any of you out there have any information on the death of Libby and Abby, absolutely make sure law enforcement has that information, even if been, something that's been parts of it, but you have a deeper understanding or a little bit more evidence than what's really out there. Absolutely make sure that law enforcement and the prosecutors have that information, because we absolutely need justice on this case, and we appreciate anyone and everyone as they try to find justice for Libby and Abby. All right. Well, we got to see the movement in the court and Judge Frango and the handling of the court. And there were some things that we thought was going to be presented today. And those have been moved along into the future. And we'll get into some of those also. But it appears that the court now, will the new court date ever be as quick as what they say? I doubt it. But there is something I believe absolutely is something. I showed Mrs. Steve an image of Richard Allen. And when we look at Richard Allen, this image here, and it's just not this one. This is one I captured, I looked at. This is a defeated man. I've seen this a lot in my career and in my life. And most of us probably have also, when we look at family members and individuals we've done business with, or distant relatives, that sometimes people get depressed, and the whole weight of the world is on their shoulders. This is a man that has the whole weight of the world on his shoulders, in my opinion. That's what he looks like as he walks in. And if you watched any of the videos today of as he arrived at the court, and you listen to some of the news as the newscasters were talking about how he appeared, how frail he was, unsteady, and having to have and rely upon support of the security teams to keep him upright. So, which places you and puts us a long ways towards something that I hope occurs. But anyway, Richard Allen, the jury selection, the judge has set a court date for the jury selection to start, which will be January the 8th, 2024. And then they mentioned that they expect the trial to be 3 weeks. January the 8th is a long way off for an individual in this condition. Health-wise, and the arguments that some of the attorneys have been arguing or presenting to the court about his health and his ability to assist in his defense, which is huge. But we also heard that the judge next week has declared, and how truthful will this be, and how many documents that they're going to start releasing some of these sealed documents next week. So buckle up and prepare for a ride, because in the coming days, when those whatever those documents are, and as they become sealed, and as we become more aware of this evidence and whatever other that the courts and the prosecution sought to have sealed, and we start to understand why they would want them sealed, and is it necessary that they were sealed. So there's going to be a lot to discuss in the coming days, and hopefully it has some really, well, they owe us nothing. Court systems owes us nothing. Law enforcement owes us nothing. But when we start seeing these sealed documents, and whatever they are, I'm very much appreciative that we will be able to see what is in those case files and what's in those reports and whatever type of documents, probable cause affidavits, search warrants. Who knows which documents that they may release. I'm hopeful that it's quite the treasure chest, and what information it has. And as it comes out, and you look at this individual here and some of the things that have come out today, I'm going a long way towards, and I hope he does not only live up to what confessions he made in jail and what they are, and where will that take us. But anyway, the ballistic suppression hearing that was supposed to be part of today's hearings has been postponed to a later date. And because there was plenty to look at, and they were concentrating a lot of the issues on his health and the attorney accessibility issues, and which is huge. His health is a huge thing, but the defense is going to make as much of it as far as his health, that he is absolutely critical part of the defense, and in some ways that can be, but not always. Some of these individuals, these offenders, they have no, that attorneys can say, yes, they help defend themselves, which that's really not always the case. They don't have a true understanding. Only when the defendants take the stand, and which is often a mistake. And hopefully if we get in court and it does go to trial, which I'm leaning way away from a trial coming up here. Because like I said, January 8th is a long way off. A lot of things can happen by then. And, but the accessibility issues and his ability to participate, and any of these things that are standing in the way of these attorneys having access to him, they will try to bring that up in the appeals courts if this doesn't turn out. If it does, he was not given a fair, impartial ability to even participate in his own defense, and that's huge, and we don't want that. and why is he being housed at a maximum security? Um, that can be argued. I've never, crimes happen in jails, county jails. Yes, there's assaults. There's all kind of different types of issues that can happen in a county jail environment. But there's ways to handle that. They have isolation. Jails are built to maintain security, isolate individuals, hold them, contain them, and you can't tell me that there's not a jail cell that in some county jail, even in the Carroll County jail, that could hold him, house him, that other inmates couldn't get to. And the cost of all of that, and of course, is something that the county may or may not be able to afford, but they will have to address that issue, because even if he's housed out to another county, there will still be financial issues. All right, but the maximum security and the maximum security prisons, when you start looking at the prison system, they are a terrible. I mean, they have time that when they're locked down, and there's certain hours of the days, and there's limited access, and there is protocols that have to be followed from the time that you get out of your vehicle in the parking lot, as you work through those gates, them doors, everything, the searches, the scans, what can be taken in, and and why was he put in that maximum security? Of course, they said due to potential threats. Those threats really, I don't put much value to them because, like I said, jails are there, and we have law enforcement in there, and so you can do isolation and place him somewhere, even in the probably 95% of the county jails across the country, and he would be absolutely okay in there. It's just now, if you put him in general population, you may have issues. But they say that the maximum security issues of the potential threats and that it is hampering the defense, and we can't have that. Even the attorney's ability to make that argument that his housing is causing his case to be hampered is something that we shouldn't accept. And so I'm on their side with this, that whatever the judge ruling is, we've got to get him out of that. We got to get where he can have as much access to his attorneys for the fact that he hasn't been found guilty and he's presumed innocent, and he should be able to meet with his attorneys as much as possible. And it shouldn't be hampered in any shape, form, or fashion. But his declining health, and you can look at it. Do I think, and does he appear to be declining in health? Yes. Now, is this totally something that he's just acting? It could play a part in that, and he may be a really good actor, or he may not be. But the family would know, the attorneys would know, and if he's under surveillance in the maximum security, they have logs of what his demeanor is day in and day out, and also whatever type of medical facilities there, whatever observations, and when they file those reports and he's analyzed by the professionals inside this maximum security facility, there's professionals in there that will watch him, study him, make sure and see what his status is. And if it's something long-term, that's going to be in those prison records. And that's something that the defense can pull to the courts. And they probably will and probably have, and we'll see where that goes. Because if this is just something that he plays out during the days of court hearings, that's one thing. But if it's something that this man, who appears to be defeated at this moment in time of this picture, if this is something that's 24/7 for him, like I said, I don't see it going to court, because you cannot have a man sitting at a a defense table looking like this. You can have him sitting there, but the jury will look at him and see exactly and understand the weight of the world and probably you know, what part would that play in a finding of guilt? Don't know, but like I said, this is a drastic change when you look at this individual. Then we another county over, Cass County Sheriff says that they don't want to house Allen, but they will if it's at the court's direction. Meaning that if you tell me, Judge, I have to house him, we can do it. Don't want to, but we can do it. And we've been in that position, and I've seen that a lot of times with high-profile cases because it does put the staff under certain strains, and you have to focus on these high-profile individuals, especially if his mental state is declining along with his health status. That's something that absolutely has to be studied and looked at. And then we get to the part that that Tom was talking about, and they mentioned that he has made some type of confessions 5 or 6 times to evidently either different inmates or different individuals. And has he also done this over any of the phones or anything? If those statements are on any of the documented phone calls or anything to things that are not protected, it's not privileged to the attorneys, it's going to get out there. And whoever these inmates are that's serving time in this state facility in this maximum, at some point they're going to be releasing that information through letters, through phone calls, and access is going to be absolutely but there's going to be a lot of wild speculations and a lot of claims coming out. Which of them will be true, I have no idea. But the prosecution will use these incriminating statements to the best of their ability, and they'll be calling in whoever heard them and put it in the context it was made, because context is king. And was he being facetious, sarcastic when he was making those statements? Was he? What was the reason, and what was the discussion at the time? So that's going to be critical to understand. Now, the defense classified them as
Okay. Okay.
all right, guys. Sorry about that. Hopefully, we're back.
Yep.
All right. Did it lose your questions?
Nope.
All right.
Got it.
Okay. Sorry about that. Don't know what type of weather issues are out there, but let's get back caught up where we were. All right. But yes, we were talking about the confessions and things, and at what level were they, and what would the defense do with them, what would prosecution do with them, and what were the other inmates that have heard them, and how they will communicate, and will move forward on this, because this is going to be huge. And but then we had to look at that. One of the other things is that where he's currently at, he's under 24-hour surveillance, and that's not ever going to change. An individual that makes this type of appearance in court, and possibly under the strain and stresses he is, I absolutely do believe that we're far more likely that the defense will be making certain types of arguments, and that from these arguments about these statements made, you know, Richard Allen had already put that defense in a corner. The moment that he spoke to law enforcement, not only the first time saying I was on the bridge that day, but when he was interviewed last year, and when he says, yes, this is what I was wearing, I was on that first platform. And then we have that witness that saw him on that first platform. It says, yes, there was an individual there dressed similar to bridge guy. And then he says that he was wearing clothes similar to it. He'd already painted himself into a corner. And then saying that he was there at the right time. And we have that fourth witness that said that she turned around and left from where Richard Allen was on that first platform and was walking back towards her vehicle and met who she believes was Libya Nabby. And this individual says, no, I never saw her. Impossibility, in my opinion, just impossible. So he had already created a situation. And if that bullet, and so what's happened here is that when we look at, let me get in here, the ballistic suppression hearing, the defense absolutely has to put everything they can to sink that boat. They have to stop that ballistic data coming in, that comparison, that expert's testimony, keep that bullet out of the court and out of the eyes of the jury. And that's their number one thing that they want to absolutely take care of. But now what has, and I always thought that if they could sink this boat about that bullet, if they could sink it, then we have to attack his bridge statements. Well, his bridge statements about being on the bridge that day are huge, but there's nothing compared to confessing 5 or 6 times. And was that heard also by prison guards when he was making those statements? And because he is his own worst enemy currently with this information. So this is absolutely, I don't, if I had to give it a number, I think that we will have that he will go and plead guilty 75 out of 100 times. That 3 out of 4 times he's going to plead guilty. You can't take stuff like this to court and expect anything. I think he'll try to work out the best deal he can. And will that occur? I have no idea. But that's where I'm leaning towards right now, because it's one thing if you could get the bullet suppressed. It's another thing if you can start saying, yes, I was there and I walked a different way. I mean, he could have said it. If he walked the trail back, that's one thing that I didn't see girls. But if he said just as soon as she left and he took off walking through the woods, that's something that's plausible and possible. But now that he's made these other statements, if they can be proven or brought in and the jury believes any of those 5 or 6 confessions, just one of them is all that matters. That is absolutely something I don't know that any defense team can come over, would be able to overcome. Regardless of how the defense right now is saying, they're just generic statements. All right. Got any questions?
Mm-hmm.
Thank everyone for being here tonight. And I'm sorry for the whatever's happening with the computer. But back here in this country,
It's extremely windy.
yeah. So hopefully, if we pop off again, just bear with us. We'll get back just as soon as we can.
All right, let's see here. Let's see here. 8:25. All right, here we go. All right, and Josh. Hi, Steve. What kind of information might we see with the apparent unsealing of documents next week?
I hope we get some search warrant information. I hope we get that of what was seized from the residence. And that will go a long way. I think it's probably going to parallel that they were searching for the same thing that they searched for in the Logan search warrant. But don't know. But I hope that is released. That's the biggest document that I really want to see what other evidence they have that they seized from Richard Allen's residence.
Okay. It'll be one of these nights. All right. And Molly at True Crime Web. Any significance in the change from the red self-harm watch jumpsuit to the yellow?
I don't know. We used a lot of different colors, and of course, inside the facilities, they are certain color codes. I don't know what Indiana's color codes, but someone out there probably does know the exact what each one of those colors for Indiana means.
Okay. And Josh, do you believe RA is on self-harm watch?
Absolutely, 100%. 24/7. Yes, they're going to keep tabs on him as much as possible. Like I said, right here, and as I watched him walk, if this isn't a great acting job, and he's like this 24/7, and has been this way for months and lost the weight that he's lost, that's a defeated man right there.
All right. And Josh, Steve, do you think these statements were made to investigators or other inmates or guards?
Probably to generally it's to other inmates, or inmates claim it, but he could have absolutely made it in the presence of inmates and in the presence of guards, and possibly even to the investigators. Although most of the investigators wouldn't have access to him at all because he's being represented right now, and there's certain protocols and how Indiana is, but they don't even, if they say you're not to bring him or speak to him in any shape, form, or fashion without our presence, then I can't see that happening. But that doesn't mean that Richard Allen couldn't get a message to a guard and say, hey, go get investigator so-and-so, tell him to come down here. I've got something to tell him. Is that possible? It is. Is it likely? No.
Okay. And Kamala, I have no sympathy for RA. I wouldn't send him a pack of ramen, the noodles. Oh my God. Do you have any sympathy or think his defense is doing a bad job, Mr. Steve? Oh my God, that's priceless.
Yeah. No, I mean, the defense teams do exactly what defense teams do. They try to represent their client the best they can. And sometimes your client doesn't work with you. They work against you. And it appears that he has done so. If what was, it was talked about in court today. And so there's some type of statements made. And I have no sympathy for him either. I believe that he is a bridge guy, and I believe he is, of course, we have to assume he's innocent until proven guilty. But everything, in my opinion, shows that he is the person that committed these crimes.
Okay. Trying to catch up just a smidge.
Okay.
All righty. And the next one is from Josh. An official from the prison seemed to indicate that they never had a pre-trial prisoner before. Will that affect potential defense strategies?
It may affect them to the point that they'll have a automatic appeal process if they don't fix that. Because it's I have no pity for the man, but you have certain guarantees that you should be able to have your attorneys have access to you, and no one wants to be the first, and Indiana doesn't want to be the first to have a case overturned due to something that can be readily fixed by just sending him to a county jail. And I believe that's exactly what the court will do. And I think they'll probably in the next 12 to 24 hours, you'll hear something about that. If not, I don't, if he's not put into a county jail, I'll be at a loss.
Pauline figured out Waffles has a badge.
Oh, okay.
Good job, Pauline.
Oh, Waffles. If y'all haven't seen Waffles, last night he was my co-host. Sergeant Waffles, I think is what.
Yeah, Sergeant Waffles. Okay. All right. I think I'm caught up.
All right.
All right. So Pauline's the first one that's noticed the badge. All right. And Single Mama 4, is there going to be a change of venue?
I think that was already, they're bringing in that other jury. And so I think that's already been settled, I believe. So they're going to keep it there, but they're going to bring in a jury from one of those other counties. And that will start happening in January.
And from Stacy, didn't he confess?
They saying he made 5 or 6. Now, defense says that they were just general terms. I don't know what that means. Yeah, they said that he made 5 or 6 jailhouse confessions in some shape, form, or fashion. Now, did he write letters? Did he make a phone call? Did he tell a guard? I don't know.
All right, so that goes into this one from Sharon. I think I heard that RA wrote a letter of confession to the warden. Did you hear that too?
No, I haven't heard that, but I hope so. If he did, once again, his attorneys are in a fix. And then they're going to have to go after his whatever they can about his mental health and duress and other things. Housing him in that maximum security, that's how I believe they're going to get him out of there.
All right. And from Molly at True Crime Web, does RA have some type of skin toned covering on his forearm near where the officer is holding him? What is that?
I see yeah, it could be some type of
you see that better?
Yeah, it does appear that he does have some type of what that is. I don't know what that is either. It's almost like it was ace bandage or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he may have something. He may have fallen. If he's unsteady, there's nothing. When you're in those jail cells, most of those racks are extremely. They're just solid steel, and they'll give you a mattress things.
On the what now?
On the cots, on the
the bedding.
The shelving.
Okay. Somebody put Stacy put in here yellow equals medical.
Okay.
So maybe
it's
a question mark. So I don't know.
I don't know. It could be. I like I said, I don't know what is, and I worked the first part of my. I think I worked the first maybe 12 months of my career in a jail facility. The last 19 was through the road investigation, CSI work. So a lot of things changed back then. We, it's just whatever they did, whatever they were wearing is what they spent their time in jail back then.
Okay. Now I'm behind. All right. And we got a blue light coming up from Miss
Kamala Norris. Blue light special. for your expense fund. Godspeed. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it. And like I said, we got a trip coming up in about. Appreciate that, and we'll put that to good use. Thank you.
All right, and from Jennifer. So if he had cancer and was dying, would it change anything? I'm thinking no, but what do I know?
I don't know. It may change some issues, and as far as hearings and medical appointments and things, but no, I don't think it will change anything. And so I hadn't heard anything of anything along those diagnoses.
Okay.
And I'm like you, I don't really know what they would do on that because I've never had to I've never been at a trial where a inmate was in that type of health. Good question, though.
Mm-hmm. All right. 8:35 and Molly. Okay. And Paper Chaser, do you think he'll be able to stand trial in light of his seemingly deteriorating mental state?
The defense will try to do everything they can to postpone this and get this thing, and the courts will look at it and they'll check and see if he's able to stand trial. And but I honestly do think that 75% chance that, in my opinion, he's just going to plea out. Because, like I said, you can't stand in front of a jury for 3 weeks in this condition, and I don't see it happening.
All right. And from Chuck, if there's not enough evidence to indict the other actors, will their names be made public during the trial?
Now, the defense may offer names as other alternative suspects and theories. So, yes, some of those names, if the defense chooses to, absolutely, that is a possibility. And we know who those names will be. It's going to be the Kleins, it's going to be the Logans. And are there other tentacles and other actors out there that possibly could be named that we haven't heard of? Absolutely.
All right. And from Karen, why is this trial taking so long to kick off?
Well, we've only been at it a year, and so it's moving along. I mean, there's, look how long it took Kagan Klein to enter a guilty plea on those CSAM charges. That's been years. And will it be years on this case? It's possible, absolutely. But this individual ain't going to make it years.
And from Junior Johnson, why isn't he wearing a suit? Kohlberger looked great compared to Rick.
Oh, yes. And now when the jury, and that's something that will change, and that when we get into a trial basis and that jury, the jury will not see him in a vest and they will not see him in prison clothing. They will see him in whatever the family and whatever the attorneys bring to him and dress him up if it gets to that point. But this is the hearing phase of it. And for whatever reason, the defense and the state of Idaho allowed Kohlberger to come in dressed in the manner he was dressed versus being seen in the his jail clothing. But this will change when it gets to trial and the jury starts coming there, jury selection. You won't see him dressed in this manner.
And unsolved crimes uncovered, Allen County. Wonder if that's intentional. Weird.
Good to see you, Unsolved Crimes. If y'all haven't checked her out, check her out. Absolutely brilliant. But it was one of those oddities that the judge is from there, and it's also named Allen County. It is just one of those weird coincidences, I guess.
Okay.
Different spelling, I believe, between the two. Maybe, I don't know. It could be same spelling.
No idea. All right. And from Molly at True Crime Web, would the prison be allowed to constantly audio video record RA while in his cell?
Certain parts of the cell, and then certain parts are supposed to be limited. But I think they're even videoing his interviews with his attorneys. That is something that absolutely I'm not in favor of, because that's just something they do at maximum security prisons. Probably so, but I'm not in favor of that at all either. But there is certain privacy issues that you should and they will handle, or at least that's what it was years ago for the facilities that we have here. I don't know what they do at the maximum security prison.
Blue light for truffles.
Truffles, $5 super sticker. Thank you. Appreciate that.
And Katrina, either you confess or you don't. What's generic confession mean?
I don't know. Like I said, that is a strange term, but they have to, the defense attorneys have to absolutely belittle and make everything that he has said and painted himself and his defense team into this huge hole. And, he's dug a grave, and he's helping shovel the dirt in on himself. And so they have to make it that what he said is just something common that or something. I don't know. It's a strange situation that he's put his defense team in.
And Doc, if he wants to confess, but his lawyers are stopping him, aren't they the ones causing his mental state?
And that's the thing, is that at some point during this trial, regardless of what the defense wants done, he'll have an opportunity to tell the courts that he wants to take the stand. And if that happens, or even before then, if he is in charge of his defense, and he's the one that gets to make the decisions. And hopefully, like I said, I don't, I would rather for everybody involved that he did, go and tell the courts, everyone, the whole world, what went on that day, what happened on that bridge. And if there's others involved, then we need those individuals also.
Oh, blue light.
Grace, best channel. Thank you, Grace. That's very nice of you. Appreciate it. We'll use that.
All right, and let's see. I'm not there. Yep. Okay, it's done. And from Molly at True Crime Web, is RA in court tomorrow? There were 2 days booked for him in the legal website, today and tomorrow.
I don't know. I don't know what date and what they would look at tomorrow, but there is that. But I think that more than likely there will be some clarifications, and the judge will, some of this stuff truly needs to be fixed, and tomorrow is later in when and it needs to be fixed. His defense team needs to have him where they can get to him and make sure that he has that ability. And will the judge make rulings tomorrow? I would expect so. And that's probably what's going to happen. that she heard all the arguments today. And this judge appears to be pretty competent and means exactly what she says when she says it. So I believe that we're going to have a quick some findings and directions of what the court's about to do, and that's going to be handled very quickly.
And from Josh, Steve, has RA's competency already been determined in preliminary hearings? Can they order new
competence? Yeah. Yes. Anytime, people can have breakdowns. I mean, there's people that every day have some type of issues, and you have to. And can it occur any moment? Absolutely. Is this something that he's under observation? I absolutely believe so.
And from Karen, do you think his appearance will impact the jury given he no longer looks the way he used to?
Yes, I believe it will. It will have an impact, especially if he looks, if he has this almost frail appearance and unable to stand. Although the courts will try to make every opportunity that and show and allow him to be seen in the best light that they can. No one wants to, but we've seen where other offenders, such as the Golden State serial offender, that when he went to court, he was wheeled in a wheelchair. And by the time January gets here, if he continues along this route, we'll see him in a wheelchair because we watched them hold him as they walked him into the courthouse. And so it won't be long if he keeps declining. And he honestly is in this state. He'll be in a wheelchair.
Okay. And Kamala, is this a photo or a still frame from a video? He really is putting on the look for me. I'm sure what the defense told him to do.
I think I captured this from a video.
But it was from today.
It's from today.
Yeah.
And they had hands on him going into court, and then they had hands on him as he was leaving. And I believe I captured this from a video. And it was just, like I said, there was several seconds before it, same posture, and there was some time after it, same posture. And so it's just, I caught it, looked at it, and said, yep, he's defeated.
Okay. And then IMS 93, is this photo of RA recent? Looks like it's really weighing on him. He doesn't look good at all.
Yes. If that video of what I took today, and that's where when I was looking at in the last 24 hours, this was a video of him taken by, I don't know who was videoing, but he was being escorted, and I assumed it is him today from everything that I saw.
Okay. All right. So that's all the questions, but now
Okay.
I've got to go back and catch up. So hang tight just a second.
We appreciate everybody being here tonight. And it's absolutely, like I said, was a really interesting day in court. And I wish they had gotten to the ballistic issues, and they may get to those. I don't know when that date would be. It could be tomorrow. I don't know. But if it is, that would be interesting.
Okay. And IMS 93, is there still a gag order on this case? If so, will it not lift until the trial begins?
I would. Now, that's another thing. Now, she
did say that it's in place.
Yeah. So currently it's still in place, but what's going to be released? Man, I hope it's that the return on the search warrant for his house. From the CSI part of it, that's my law enforcement thing, because if they released everything that and what were they looking for totally in the search warrant affidavit. That's what I want to know. I want to know what that was, and I want to know what they seized, and because that's going to tell us um, and give the odds of yes, we're going to have to confess, or no, he has a chance at this.
Okay, and Corgi Mama, I heard he is refusing to eat. Has anyone else heard this?
Well, I can look at this, and he's doing something because we just looked at him a couple months ago, and it's nothing like this. Although he did look bad in the one image of where he had his dirty jail clothing on, and he lost weight then, but totally different on this one to me.
And cameras pigs. Is his wife still supporting him?
As far as I know, I think she was in court today, and I heard some people talking about her being there. So I would assume so.
Okay. And let's see. All right, 230 in chat and 108 likes. Please slap that like button. All right, let's see here. And all right. Unsolved crimes uncovered. Steve, I have to wonder if there's more involving the victims and the gun. Things we don't know, unfortunately. Lots of unanswered questions. I'm thinking we're in for lots of surprises.
And when we get to those reports, and I can tell you what happens when you have weapons in hand, and you're because firearms can be used to in struggles and these fights for survival. And if any of Abby had any type of injuries that can be linked to a blunt force that could be possibly indicative of coming from a firearm, and then we have a firearm bullet on scene, and we don't know that's the case, but if that's the possibility, we'll have to look at that. And that's some of the things that, yes, firearms can be used not only to create, of course, being fired and creating gunshot injuries, but it also can be used as a for blunt force trauma. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things about that firearm that might play a part in this trial.
All right, and from Molly at True Crime Web. I did hear right before the show that an item of RA's was found with blood on it during the search of his. This could be total rumor. Unsure if you've heard this at all.
No, I hadn't heard that. I'm hoping that's the case. That's how come I did those tests in those other shows I did. That even though you wash that item and to the naked eye, you can't see all of those stains, especially on dark clothing, but they're still there, and they can still obtain DNA profiles if those articles of clothing are washed at certain temps. It doesn't degrade or do away with the DNA profile, and that's what's huge. And that's how come I really want to see what were the items, what were they looking for at the scene, and what items did they seize. That's going to be huge, and I'm hoping those documents will be released next week.
All right, this is from Todd. Is there anything in his appearance or behavior that suggests he has committed similar crimes before? Great show.
No, not in this behavior, but this behavior shows this is the first time he's got caught. And but has he possibly committed other crimes? Yes, I absolutely believe he has other criminal acts. What extent, I don't know, but most of these offenders, once they're, there's other crimes that are associated. Some of them are petty, but some of them are very concerning. And because an individual that has no remorse is a psychopath, in my opinion. And deserves everything that a court and a jury can bring to him.
All right.
Well, guys, we absolutely appreciate y'all being here tonight. And Mrs. Steve now has help. Put up, see if we can see all of
What? You mean
yeah,
slideshow?
yeah, just for a second. So y'all can see
Sergeant Waffle.
Sergeant Waffle. He's a new addition. And I appreciate him being here. He's a stand-in for Mrs. Steve now every now and then.
Yay.
Promotion. But anyway, guys, appreciate y'all being here. If you like the video, share it, join, sub, and we appreciate it. Y'all stay safe out there, and I will see y'all Saturday night. Hopefully Dr. Susan will be here, and with we were going to be talking about some of the serial offenders with Dr. Susan, but we will also, now that we've got this, we'll be speaking about this case. And oh, okay.
Blue light for Michelle C. Gifted a membership. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And like I said, if y'all have any information on this case, absolutely make sure that the law enforcement has that. Y'all stay safe out there, and we will see y'all soon. Thank you, Mods.
Saturday.
Couldn't do it without you, Mods.
Love you.